I am pretty convinced that there is one person at Apple whose sole job is to make something of their product the most unusable and most annoying thing. So, for instance, you've got the Magic Mouse that they have that has the charge port on the underside of the mouse. So you cannot charge the mouse. Somebody's job was to say, okay, let's make this so unusable. Also, you have the new Mac Mini that instead of putting the power button on the top or the side or the back, they put it on the underside of the computer. So you have to physically pick it up to turn it on. Or they have a pair of headphones that you can't turn on or off. You have to put in a bra case just to be able to shut it off. So I am convinced that there's one person at Apple whose sole job is to make one thing about their products that everybody complains about.
What do you think about Tesla changing their full self-driving situation where it's only going to be subscription-based and they're removing autopilot from future vehicles?
I hate that with my whole heart. We're moving in a world where you own nothing, but you still have to pay for it. And so that's what this new full self-driving is going to be. You basically don't own it. You're renting it for your life. And if you have your vehicle for a long time, you're going to end up paying more than what you would have paid if you paid for it outright. All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Bet Tech Show. We're your hosts, Ben and Ethan.
Man, we've got a good show. We're going to talk about car updates with Tesla. Some good, maybe, mostly bad, I think. Yeah. We've got also some phone updates, which is going to be really interesting. And related to the phone updates, we're going to be talking about Apple, some of their phone updates that we've been seeing leaks of, and then also an intricate or maybe interesting acquisition that Apple's made. But first, let's get into the car updates with Tesla. I think there's a few items here, Ethan. You mentioned one right before the call that I did not know about. So let's start with that. What's Tesla's update with their cars and their models?
All right. So Tesla has been known for their Model S and X, which have really those were the two models of vehicles that kind of put Tesla on the map and made everyone kind of think that they were really a viable company. They had the original Roadster that was really expensive, very low sales, but they had the Model S and X, which really kind of put them on the map. This year, at the end of Q2, Elon Musk announced that he is going to be they are going to be stopping production. They're going to be starting to slowly slow down production as of right now, but by the end of Q2, they will be stopping production in favor of autonomy. So their Fremont factory, which does produce these vehicles, is now going to be producing their Optimus robots, which is what everybody needs or everybody wants, I guess. So I want to get your thoughts on this. Do you think this is something that we kind of saw coming, or do you think this was just a dumb move?
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't really see it coming just because they don't have too many model vehicles. I mean,
yeah, they have 5.
Yeah, I guess like 4 if you count the Roadster, right? But 5 if you count the Roadster, but like 4 that you really see on the road. The 3, the I, the S, and the X, right? And so it's kind of interesting to think that they're going to eliminate I don't know. I feel like maybe it's a little early. And I'm curious to know what sales numbers look like. Maybe they just have a huge drop in sales for the S and the X. I will say I don't hear a lot of people that I know of buying those models anymore. They're usually buying the Model Y or the Model 3. But again, I just feel like it is a good portion of their product line being eliminated, and pretty quickly too. It's not even through the end of the 2026 fiscal year or calendar year. They're doing it halfway through. They're going to be eliminating it.
They're just like, yeah, we're getting rid of it right now.
Yeah, and so I assume there's probably financial numbers behind that that make it reasonable. But from a consumer, I don't know. It was surprising to me. And so I would assume that they just are betting more on the future of robots and autonomy and whatever that looks like. I don't know. I'm not sold on robotics just yet. We saw a lot of it at CES, but I'm not sold on it. So I am more of the thought it's going to take maybe 5 years. I want to say 10 years, but knowing AI and technology, it's probably more 5 years. But it's probably going to take 5 years before like these things are adopted regularly.
Yeah.
So that's my thought. What do you think about this and the move to eliminate the S and the X?
It makes sense to me. I think from what I understand, it seems like their Model S and X have dropped in sales year over year for many years. One of the problems being they are very expensive
They are.
vehicles and they have a lot more features than probably the average consumer needs or wants. I mean, I'm sure we would all want all the features of both of those cars with how fast they go, with the Falcon wing doors. Everybody wants those, but
So sick.
don't know that everybody needs those. And so, with I think how costly it is for them to produce these vehicles, with the lack of sales, it kind of makes sense as to why they'd be doing this. And based on some of their other business decisions, what they've been doing with full self driving as well, kind of makes sense that they're trying to do everything to cut costs of certain these areas and maximize costs and maximize revenue in other areas. So I think this is just one of those things that it's going to happen. They did mention that they were going to be supporting these vehicles for as long as they could. For a long time, there's going to be a lot of updates that are still going to go to them. They just
Oh, that's good.
won't be producing any new vehicles, which is sad.
Yeah. Yeah, it kind of makes me think of the other aspect was the Model X was really targeted as like the family car, and I don't really think they have one anymore that's like a family car. I mean, they have the Model
Yeah,
Y,
it was like the
but
very first electric SUV at the time when it first came out back in 2015. So now that, I mean, that was really what launched what we have now. I mean, we have a lot of other competitors. We have competitors. We have the Model Y. We have Ford's attempt at an SUV with their Mach-E. Rivian has an SUV now.
Mach E, dude, the Mustang Mach E. Oh gosh. Yeah.
So
What are your thoughts on like timeline for the van? What do they call it? Elon was calling it something on the when he unveiled it, the Tesla van. You know what I'm talking about?
that robo taxi van,
Yes. Robovan. That's what he called it.
Robovan,
Robovan. Instead of Robovan, he said the Robovan.
Robovan.
Just to troll people, you know? Gosh. I feel like that's like another half decade to a decade away, you know?
Yeah,
Especially with the Cybertruck. And I guess I was wrong. I guess it's six, maybe six if you include the Cybertruck and the Roadster, right?
yeah,
Six
which is sad because I
vehicles.
mean I don't think the Cybertruck has sold all that well either. So
Yeah.
based on this logic, it's just a matter of time when they're going to stop production on that.
Yeah, that does make sense. Yeah. And if you look at it, the Cybertruck, it's the body parts and the pieces to make it are so different than their other flagship models. I mean, the S and the 3 and the Y, I feel like those probably have very similar pieces that they could leverage in production, you know? Whereas
Yeah,
the Cybertruck, I feel like everything that is different.
yeah, I know like with especially like with the Model 3 and the Model Y, like the very front chassis of it, like the very front 30% of the vehicle are the same. And so that helps to streamline production, helps to minimize costs that way. The Model S and X were had similar body types. Obviously, they were very different because they had the Falcon wing doors, but there were some similarities there that kind of made production a little bit sleeker. But yeah, to your point, where you have the Cybertruck, which is starkly different in every way. I think the only things that are similar is Maybe they have. I can't even think of anything that's
I
similar.
can't. Yeah, same. The seats, the front bench, the
The
dash.
charge port in the back. That's the same.
The charge port. Good call out there, Ethan. That's the same. Yeah, that's true. I guess that's a fair point. But yeah, that I wouldn't be surprised maybe if, down the road a couple years they say no more Cybertruck, even though there's so much hype around it and so much R&D. Yeah, I guess it makes sense financially. But speaking of financial moves, what do you think about Tesla changing their full self-driving situation where it's only going to be subscription based and they're removing autopilot from future vehicles?
I hate that with my whole heart. I hate this subscription software as a service model. Thank you, Adobe. They are the worst. Anyway, I'm livid about it. I hate it so much because we're moving in a world where you own nothing, but you still have to pay for it. And so that's what this new full self-driving is going to be. You basically don't own it. You're renting it for your life. And if you have your vehicle for a long time, you're going to end up paying more than what you would have paid if you paid for it outright, which is annoying. From what I heard, Tesla's reasoning behind this is because one, it allows them to get a constant revenue stream from it, and it allows them, as they are putting more features into it, to increase the price and to be able to pay for that. It makes sense from their standpoint, whereas somebody who pays for it outright, essentially they get all these features, but there's no increased revenue stream. So from Tesla's standpoint, I understand it. From a consumer, it's very anti-consumer. Nothing of this benefits the consumer in any way, other than the fact that, hey, if they have it for 1 month and they decide, I don't want this anymore, they can get rid of it.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
No, I'm of similar aspect. I don't even have full self-driving, but the idea that if I want to get a new vehicle, for example, if I wreck my vehicle or if the battery dies eventually, or if my wife wants to get one, then she won't have the ability to have the autopilot, which is such a cool feature to have. Most electric vehicles, even gas vehicles, have that smart, like, what do you call it? Cruise control?
Mm-hmm.
Adaptive cruise control is what they call it, I think. And the fact that Tesla's not going to have that anymore unless you pay monthly really frustrates me. I think they could have handled this better and made it more consumer friendly, because you're right, it is not consumer minded at all. It is very much Tesla's profit minded and future proofing their full self-driving. What they could have done is they could have said, for those who have bought in, fine, you're bought in. Anyone that wants to buy in now, you can still buy in, but you're not going to get any of the software updates after 2 years, whatever it might be. If you want to add those software updates, then you have to pay a prorated rate or prorated amount of full self-driving per month. If you want the updates, then you have to pay $20 a month, $30 a month, whatever it is. So you don't lose out on the ability to one-time purchase. It's 6 years, by the way. 6 years is the timeline between if you buy it in versus monthly, you get your ROI. So if you buy it one time and you have it longer than 6 years, you get your money's worth. Whereas if you pay monthly and if you're paying monthly longer than 6 years, then you would have done better paying for it outright. At least that's what it is now. It's going to change. So yeah, I don't know. I don't like it. I don't like it. I definitely think it's more profit focused for Tesla. And I get it. They are a for-profit company. They want to continue to increase their shares for the shareholders and for Elon himself. But it's just frustrating as a consumer.
Yeah. He has to get his milestones for his pay pack.
He does. He does. He wants to be a trillionaire.
And he is definitely working on it. All these moves are a step into that direction.
Sure. Yeah, for sure. So yeah, we'll see. I'm curious also to know how soon upgraded full self-driving will come out, because Elon has hinted at what did he say? It is like not unmonitored, or that's not the right word he used, but it's essentially unmonitored full self
Unsupervised.
unsupervised. Thank you. Full self driving, where you can essentially fall asleep
Yeah.
and you're good. And for me, I'm like, okay, if I'm going on a long trip that month, maybe I'll pay for it for the month, and I'm paying $100 so I can sleep in the car for 9 hours. To
Hmm.
me, that's sweet. That's pretty cool. I want that to come out sooner than later.
Yeah, I want that too. And the issue that I have with that is that I think that's only available on vehicles with hardware 4 in them. And my vehicle, being a 2020, has hardware 3,
Dang.
which is,
When did Hardware 4 come out?
I think, 2024.
Dang. I've got a 2020.
Early 2023.
Yeah, that's even pre my
A-
vehicle.
And the Model Y's got it mid 2023.
Dang.
So, yeah, that's. However, I believe Elon did mention in his earnings call that any owners that purchase the full self-driving package with their vehicle that have hardware 3, there will be a retrofit for hardware 4
Cool.
this year as well. They said that it's
Nice.
something that he did mention is like it's something that we don't want to do, but we need to do, and it's going to cost us billions. So I'm I'm happy about that because I will be able to get that retrofit for my vehicle.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet. At least there's that. That's like, okay, throw me the bone. I'll take it. So,
Makes me feel like my investment in full self-driving that I'll never get a return on my investment back is a little bit better. It
a little
stings a little less.
bit. A little less salt on the wound. Well, cool. Speaking of stinging, what kind of new technology is stinging your pocket these days, or at least thinking of stinging your pocket when it comes to phones? I know we got some phones on the horizon. Tell me about these new phones, Ethan. What are you looking at?
So something that I've been seeing a lot on the internet and that has really piqued my interest and almost going to get me to cross over to the dark side for Samsung
Green
is the new.
text, Ethan.
I know it'll be bad. Is the Samsung Galaxy Trifold. So for the uninitiated, this trifold is a little bit different. It has 3 folds for the screen, and with your typical folding phone that folds in half, when you open it up and you watch a movie, you still have the black bars on top because it's a square screen. Whereas this trifold allows you to have a rectangular screen and you can utilize the full screen for movies. I think it's pretty cool. It has a lot of cool features. It's basically like having a full 11-inch tablet in your pocket that's portable. And who hasn't ever said that they needed a few extra inches when they're on the go?
I know I need a few extra inches.
Exactly. So this can help that alleviate that.
Wonderful.
So so with that in mind, the big when this first came out and people were getting their hands on it, the big thing is what is this price going to be? Well, Samsung just unveiled the price.
My
And
goodness.
unfortunately, I can understand that price because you're paying for a phone and you're paying for a tablet and with all the tech that's in it. However, I don't know that I can fathom that much for a phone, and I probably won't.
That is so much money. That is so much money, dude.
Yeah.
Almost $3,000 for a phone. I mean, yes, technically it can fold out to be a tablet, but you can buy a really good iPad and an iPhone for cheaper than that.
Yes, exactly.
So,
I mean, granted, you're not putting the iPod or the iPad in your pocket.
no, you're right. You're not.
I guess if you got cargo pants, you could.
Janko jeans with cargo cargo
Exactly.
pockets. Kids are wearing them these days, and they're not cheap, dude. Jinko
I
jeans
know.
are freaking expensive.
They are, which is bananas.
It's
They
crazy.
shouldn't be. They shouldn't be that expensive.
So, I mean, you could have the iPad in your pocket, but dude, I'm blown away by that price. I'm on Samsung's website right now looking at the trifold. It's pretty slick, I will say. And there's a screen on the back. So when you
Mhm.
fold the trifold up, you're looking at the front screen, and the front screen, it will fold out and then, like trifold out, and then the front screen's on the back as well. So you're getting one massive screen and one smaller screen. The massive screen is the three screens combined, right?
Yeah,
And it does look pretty slick, I will say. That's a decent computer, man. That is a
I know.
decent
That
computer.
is a decent computer. I built a high-end gaming PC for that price.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Is like you can build a pretty solid PC for that price, and you can even get brand new phone, brand new nice iPad, and the idea is sweet. You're gonna have people who are techies buy it, but I don't think a lot of people are gonna be buying it. And
Yeah,
yeah, even though it's
I don't
so
think so.
cool, I just don't think a lot of people are gonna be buying it.
It's cool. I think for a first generation product, Samsung did a really good job with this. The reviews for the build quality and how the hinges work are really cool because the hinges are pretty snappy. It doesn't feel like this weak hinge, which has been a I guess a criticism of earlier folding phones of Samsung as well as some others that are on the market currently. So how they've been able to build this it has been pretty cool. Granted, I'm always of the proponent never buy a first generation product. At
Yeah.
least wait for the second one so they at least get the kinks out of it and hopefully learn from their sins from the first one.
Yeah, and
Hopefully.
hopefully from an economic standpoint, they make it, a little bit more affordable. Yeah, so it's really cool news seeing the trifold come from Samsung. I won't be buying one.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I won't either. So my bubbles will still be blue.
What would be the price point for you to be like, actually, maybe I will buy that?
If it was maybe $2,000, I would seriously consider that.
Really?
Because if you look at it from you're buying a phone and a tablet, your phone's going to cost about $1,000 because I make terrible life decisions and I always buy the expensive one. And you get a tablet that's probably going to be about the same price because, again, I make terrible life decisions and I always get the expensive one. But so putting those two terrible decisions together, you get a $2,000 folding phone.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I think I would have to go, it would have to be slightly above what other phones are going for right now. So if it was 13 to 1500, I'd be like, okay, maybe I'd consider that. 2000, I probably wouldn't even consider still. That's me.
Yeah,
I think what
it is.
phones right now are like 1100.
Yeah, and they're creeping up because they put like 2 gigs of storage in them, and you need like 512 to just as your base minimum.
About the upgrades and also the iPhone 18. Well, maybe it's just I called the iPhone Fold. But iPhone is supposedly coming out with their own fold phone, and pretty interesting. Some of the main features of the iPhone 18 is the change in the top island nozzle. What do you call it? The black
The
little circle.
dynamic island.
The dynamic island. Yeah, they're moving that to be now just like a hole punch in the top left corner where it's black. And you can even press on that and then it'll pop open like a little feature menu that you can customize or whatever it might be. But yeah, they've moved that, which is kind of interesting. It's also going to be, let's see here, performance. It's expected to feature the A20 Pro chip manufactured on 2nm process. That's beyond me. The A20 Pro chip, that sounds great. Good. Camera, probably an upgrade as usual. The colors though, I the colors that have been rumored I like. Okay, so we're looking at kind of like a burgundy color, a light brown, and a purple. And I kind of dig these colors, man. I'm a fan of these. Let me see if I can share my screen here. I don't know if this will pop up, but take a look at this. Check this out. Look at these colors here. This burgundy, light brown, and purple. Here's come some new
Kind of a
colorway.
fan of the purple.
Yeah, I'm a fan of all of them. I don't know which one I would choose, to be honest. I saw all of them and I was like, ooh, I could go with all of these. These are all slick. So it's pretty sweet. I like it. I think there's more upgrades and more changes to this iPhone than there have been in the more recent iPhones in the last 3 to 5 years. But if we look at the iPhone Fold, let's look at the Apple iPhone Fold. There's some leaks coming out about it. I don't know which ones are authentic, which ones aren't, but there are talks of the iPhone Fold. So it kind of looks like maybe it's this guy here. And there's kind of another depiction of it. I don't know too much details of it, but supposedly it's going to be kind of like similar to the iPad mini in size. And that's actually something that I talked to one of our friends about, Dylan. He had the iPad mini, and I was like, "Do you like that?" And he goes, "Yeah, I love it. I just wish I could make it my phone." And I was like, "Oh, that'd be kind of cool to have like, an iPad as your phone, which would be nice." So it's kind of cool that they're coming out with a Fold. What are your thoughts on the iPhone Fold? Do you think this is exciting? Do you think it'll be good? Do you think it's legit?
I think it is legitimate. I know the rumors have been that Apple's been working on this for a long time. Kind of the opinion. I know that they've been waiting to try and make it really good. So because they're kind of late to the game here. I mean, folding phones have been out for several years at this point.
Yep. Yep.
So they're very late to the game. I know the reasoning behind it is so that they could make the consumer experience the best that it can be. However, I don't know. I'm not super excited. Maybe if this was a few years ago, I might have been more excited. However, there's just so many other options available that are doing a really good job. I think they've got to do something that is better than all the rest of the competition in some way. It can't just be software based because one, they always half bake their software release anyway when the new phones come out, and their software features that they claim are going to be in it don't come until midway through the life cycle of the product anyway. So
Yeah.
I think the features that need to be on it have to be really hardware based and have to be unlocked right when you get the device for it to be a viable product, in my opinion. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think that's a fair point. I really hope that they do make it much more consumer friendly and the user experience is similar to other Apple products, which is just seamless. They do nail that down. Historically, they've been so good at making their products very consumer friendly. The user experience is incredible, very seamless between their product ecosystem. And I hope this is similar. The one thing about fold phones that has always bugged me that I've never really seen a good solution for, I have always seen some kind of impact on the screen from the folding.
Mm-hmm.
Even though there are phones that claim there's no crease, there's no bubble, there's no dent, whatever you want to say, I still see an impact and can tell that it's a fold phone. It's not seamless like an iPad is, or like a regular iPhone screen. And so I'm really hoping that they have a much better result in that aspect, and maybe also related to the product features and the software. Hopefully that we get 100% of the product at the get-go and not just updates as they come.
Yeah.
So
You make a really good point. That crease is the most annoying thing about folding phones. I know my mom had one of those Samsung Fold phones, and having to manipulate anything on her phone would just drive me nuts because of her how many times she's folded that, and it just has like you can feel the crease in it.
yeah, Yeah.
It's the worst.
Yeah, and so hopefully they've solved for that. I think that's a very difficult thing to solve for, though, just because it's a physical product that's impacted by a particular physical movement. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm curious to see if it's good. If I see that it's really good, I actually might be tempted to switch to that
Really?
because I do like the idea of a larger screen where I can open up and kind of like a mini tablet size screen, you know. And I don't know what the price point will be like, but hopefully it's
What
cheaper
if it
than
is
the.
$2,000?
Then I don't know. I might pass on it. My mic just came undone, so I'm kind of having an awkward situation here. There we go. If it's $2,000, I'm gonna pass. I'm hoping it's similar to their other flagship iPhone models, where it's like just over $1,000. Because to me, I'm like, oh, okay, maybe that's worth changing and switching. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think with it, as long as if they can solve some of the really terrible things of it, they might have a chance with it. Yeah, that crease that's probably like the one thing that I don't know how they're going to be able to solve that, because you've got a physical item that's just being manipulated so many times, and there's only so many times that something can be folded before it's fatigued enough that it breaks.
Yeah, exactly. You're spot on, and that's something that I do worry about. Maybe not worry, but in my mind, I'm like, I'm not a believer or convinced in your product until I see that you've solved for that. So, have you ever, thinking of what you're saying with folding of something so many times before it breaks, have you ever done any kind of manufacturing plant tours where you've seen them test products for durability?
Yes, I have. I worked for a manufacturing company, and I got to be a part of like the quality control where they would do some of these stress tests on
Yeah.
products.
So then you've seen firsthand, like for our listeners, what they do in these factories for production to stress test and to make sure like the durability stands to the requirements. They literally will do the test at hyperspeed of just incredible increments. So for example, like I think of the folding, and there's just like a machine that's like open, close, open, close, open, close, open, close, open,
Yes.
close. And so they're just like cranking out thousands of folds a day. And so I wonder, like, what does that look like? I just think of that imagery in my head. What machine is opening and closing it over and over and over again? Because I've done tours of production lines, and I've seen shocks for semi trucks. I've seen, different. I've done like Boeing. I've toured their manufacturing plant and see how they stress test some of their equipment, and it is kind of interesting how they do it. And so I'm curious what Apple has been doing for their opening and closing of the folding of the phone.
Yeah, I'm fairly certain that they do have like a machine that tests the bend strength of their phones. That is just like between 2 points, and they have a little mechanism that has a rubber ball on the end that slowly pushes down just to see how much force it will be before it bends.
Yep, I'm sure. Interesting stuff. So it's kind of cool to see. I'm excited to see what the next lineup is. Surprisingly surprised with myself of like surprisingly surprised. No, surprised at my excitement. That's what I meant to say. That they're with the new lineup. So I'm looking
Yeah,
forward to the release.
I think so too. If we have time, I'd like to present a conspiracy theory to you, because I know you love
We
conspiracy.
always have time for conspiracy theories. Are you kidding me? You know who you're talking
Okay.
to?
Yes.
Tinfoil. I need my hat.
Product, the most unusable and most annoying thing. So, for instance, you've got the Magic Mouse that they have that has the charge port on the underside of the mouse. So you cannot charge the mouse.
Yes.
Somebody's job was to say, okay, let's make this so unusable. Also, you have the new Mac Mini that instead of putting the power button on the top or the side or the back, they put it on the underside of the computer. So you have to physically pick it up to turn it on. Or they have a pair of headphones that you can't turn on or off. You have to put in a bra case just to be able to shut it off. So I am convinced that there's one person at Apple whose sole job is to make one thing about their products that everybody complains about.
I wonder, yeah, because you make valid points. Like Apple usually does an incredible job thinking of the user experience, but you're right. The Magic Mouse having the charger on the bottom, you cannot use it while it's charging. That is the dumbest thing. Mac Mini, I did see the button being on the bottom. I'm like, really? Like, of all places on the bottom? Some of the design features are just straight up so bad that you think there's got to be something on purpose here.
Yeah, it has to be on
I don't.
purpose.
What do you think? Is it like a false flag or like a distractor from like other bad features where it's like, oh well, we have some bad features, but let's just make something so glaring that that's the focal point.
I think it's a marketing stuff. A marketing ploy for them to stay relevant for a long time. Because, okay, here we are, the Magic Mouse. That is a product that's like really old, but here we are in 2026, still talking about it. So I think it is a market.
I see. Like bad PR is good PR. Any PR is good PR. That's kind of what your thought is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Yeah. Touche. Well, wasn't there also like they made wireless headphones and then they made like a necklace for the wireless headphones for the
Yes.
AirPods so you don't lose them?
So you don't lose them.
Yeah. That's also like another thing where I'm like, really?
Yeah, it defeats the purpose of
Yeah.
totally wireless.
Kind of dumb, but hey, some people buy it, I guess.
Yeah. So that's my opinion. Sound off in the comments whether you think this is a valid conspiracy theory or not.
Sound off in the comments if you are on that team or you're that person. I want to know.
Yeah.
What are you cooking up next?
They'll probably put the charge port underneath the screen, so you have to pull that off to charge your phone.
Yeah, that would be terrible.
Well, we want to thank everyone that stuck with our show this far. Give us a thumbs up if you liked it. That really does help out the channel, and I'm sure they could use this in their lives. As always, ring-a-ling that ding-a-ling button so you never miss out on any content as it's posted on the channel. Until next time, stay classy and have a great evening.
Peace.